no idea what day this is gonna come out. Yeah, I've got no idea when this is gonna come out, but I am filming this on day 4 because Spartan967 challenged us to do a 4 blank before you blank challenge, which is very open to interpretation. So I'm doing 4 classic movie musicals to watch before you scrap the whole genre. Because, let's be real, even musical fans like to make jokes, oh, I don't like that old stuff. I like the new stuff, the good stuff. And it's not really fair. I mean, sure, there's a lot of stuff that had no plot and was super problematic and half the songs are garbage, but A, it's our history and I don't think we should ignore our history, and B, some of it's really fucking good. So, without further ado, let's go into 4 classic movie musicals that you should watch before you scrap the whole genre. I kind of ranked these, kind of. It's not like, oh, this is the worst, this is the best, but like, top priority in the argument. So, number 4 is Mary Poppins. Now, it's pretty hard to find somebody who hasn't seen Mary Poppins, because it's a classic. But I think it's one of those ones that gets just better and better the older you get. I mean, as a kid, you love Spoonful of Sugar and cleaning up the nursery and the carousel, and all of that's great, but the older you get, the more fun it is to watch all of the little nuance and the more impressive it all is. And Feed the Birds. Feed the Birds. It was actually Walt Disney's favorite song. He had like a really deep connection with Feed the Birds. If you look it up, you can find all sorts of stuff about him and Feed the Birds, and oh my god, when you watch it as an adult rather than a kid, oh my god. And the scene where it's Bert and George Banks and they're talking, and it leads into the scene where he's walking to the bank and Feed the Birds Orchestra, and oh my god, it's so good, you guys. I mean, it's so good, and the older you get, the more you can appreciate the little things, and oh my god, it really is practically perfect in every way. Number 3 is Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. It's not the most well-known of the MGM movie musicals, but it's one of my personal favorites from growing up. It stars my for real childhood crush, Howard Keel, who was in so many of these as the leading man, and it also features Russ Tamblyn, who, if you recognize him, you probably know him as Riff in the West Side Story movie. It's about these 7 brothers who are living up in the mountains and in the late 1800s, and they live alone, and one of them decides to go get married because his brothers can't take care of themselves. So he figures he should go get a wife to get somebody to help with the cooking and the cleaning. And it eventually just becomes about all of them learning how to respect women. I'm not joking. Admittedly, I haven't seen this one in a bit, so I might be thinking about it through Rose-Tinted Glasses, and the whole women are gonna cook and clean and help teach the men how to be civilized thing might be worse than I remember, but also it's very clearly an attempt, at least, to say, men, you should respect ladies. And, you know, for a 50s movie musical based on a story by Plutarch, an honest attempt is pretty good. And even if it is problematic and you find that, you know, something that you don't want to watch, I get that. You should still look up clips of the songs and the dances, because holy shit, this cast is so good. I mean, like, just the barn raising scene. This choreography is insane, and I've never seen anything quite like it. So you should at the very least watch the choreography. And I think the rest of the movie holds up decently well too, if you can remember when it was made. I think it's, you know, it's not the most progressive thing, but I don't think you have to get angry at it. Number 2 is Meet Me in St. Louis, which is definitely not the Judy Garland movie you thought would be on this list. But I think, personally, that while Wizard of Oz is probably a better movie, Meet Me in St. Louis is a better representation of the genre as a whole. So Meet Me in St. Louis, because it's not one of the more popular ones, is about this family, the Smith family, and they are living in St. Louis in 1904. It's the year preceding the World's Fair, and it's just vignettes of the family going through their sort of trials and tribulations of being a family, and it's kind of like To Kill a Mockingbird, in the sense that there is like one big plot, but not really, because of all the different vignettes. And so when you are looking at the story, you can be like, yeah, it's technically about the this and this and this and this and this and this, but it's also, you know, there's an entire section that's just a phone call, waiting for a phone call. And the family is so good. Everyone's amazing in this, not just Judy Garland. Every single member of the cast is just doing a great job. The family is one of my favorite film families. The aesthetic of this movie is gorgeous because, you know, it's like a Victorian aesthetic, and the costumes are gorgeous, all the sets are gorgeous, and Vincent Minnelli, he knew how to shoot this stuff. Some of the stuff he did with Technicolor was crazy. The movie's so rich and so vibrant, and it's beautiful, and it's sweet, and it's funny, and if I haven't convinced you already, this is the movie that Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas is from. So if you ever wondered why Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas sounds so sad, watch the film and understand the original context and why it doesn't make sense half the time, because everybody changes the lyrics and strips it of its context. I have very strong feelings about Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, you guys. And the number 1 movie that you should see if you don't like movie musicals is Singin' in the Rain. It's so good. It is just amazing. I mean, Gene Kelly was a legend for great reasons. As a choreographer, as a dancer, as a director, he was on fire. The whole cast was on fire. It's just gorgeous to look at. Even when they're not dancing, the costumes are brilliant. But the choreo, man, the fucking choreo, oh god. I mean, it's all iconic, and it's so funny, not just like the slapstick, but it's a really witty script. It's one of those film scripts where when you sit down with just the script, you could just read it to yourself and laugh, because it's really good. This is how good Singin' in the Rain is. My senior year of high school, I was in this film studies class, and it was basically just me and the football team. And these guys were so hesitant to watch a movie musical. They did not want to do this. They were complaining, come on, can't we get to The Godfather already? They did not want to watch this film. And I was just like, guys, trust me, this is gonna be good. And they didn't believe me because I thought the artist was good and they all hated it. But then again, I hated The Godfather and they all loved it, so. But the teacher puts it in. We haven't even gotten 5 minutes in, and they've all laughed out loud like 7 times. One of them actually said, holy shit, this is actually good. And this is before Lena Lamont opens her mouth. When Lena opened her mouth, it was magic. these football dudes who had been sitting there whining about having to watch this movie were dying, and we hadn't even gotten to, like, one of the real musical numbers. Gosh, it's just so good. It's one of those ones where it's infectious. It's truly infectious. It makes you so happy whether or not you want to be. And that's pretty impressive. But yes, all of these movies are classics for a reason, and I definitely think that if you love movie musicals, you should definitely watch these. If you don't like movie musicals and you don't understand what the fuss is about, you should watch these. If you're trying to get somebody into movie musicals, make them watch these. They're amazing and they shouldn't be forgotten. They're worth watching. And also, I'm just gonna say it, if the number had been 5, number 5 would have been Sound of Music. How could it not? Yeah, all of these are wonderful. If you don't love movie musicals, maybe try these and you'll at least get why we like them. Okay, love you, bye-bye.